everybody. Welcome to another episode of Verbal Sex with AndrewX. A day late. And I'll tell you why it's a day late. I'm fucking sick, ladies and gentlemen. I got the death flu. I have the AIDS of the flu world. Yeah, that's me right now. This podcast almost didn't happen. But I promised it every Tuesday, and even though I couldn't do it yesterday, there was no way in hell I could do this yesterday. Man, I was so out of it. My brain was cooking. I couldn't even think straight. If I'd have done this yesterday, well, actually, you know what? Maybe I should have done it, because then it would have been kind of funny. I don't know what I would have said. But man, it's been frustrating. I haven't been sick in a good year or two. Not like that, anyway. I don't get sick very often. One of the things that annoys me about being sick is that when you tell your friends you're sick, all of a sudden everyone's a fucking doctor. You know what I mean? Like, I actually had somebody tell me to take ibuprofen because my sinuses were stuffed up, which is completely wrong. I mean, I'm no doctor, but I don't think that's what it's for. I've never seen a bottle say that. I've never had a bottle of ibuprofen clear my sinuses up. Maybe you should just keep that shit to yourself, guys. You're not a fucking doctor. Or you mentioned that you're sick on Facebook. One of the reasons I hate Facebook so much is all your friends, all of a sudden, every time when you post anything about yourself, everyone's got their shitty opinion that they need to, feel like they need to share with you. Especially when you're sick. Oh, man. And, God help you if you've got friends that are nurses, because then, oh my God, it's on. And I don't know if you know any nurses, but nurses aren't doctors. They don't know shit. They know how to take your blood pressure and shit like that. But they're not doctors. But a lot of them will try to act like they are because they're really proud that they're in the quote-unquote medical field. So what they do is they'll be like, so take a rag and dip it in some hot lemon water and then put it over your face and then take some chamomile tea and put a teaspoon of honey in it and then drink that slowly over the next hour and then take a nap for about an hour and a half and then wake up and take some echinacea, blah, 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 blah. Basically, anything that a doctor would never tell you to do, they tell you to do that. You ever notice that how nurses fucking do? I don't know. I don't mean to pick on nurses because all my fucking friends do this shit. And it's one of the reasons I hate Facebook. You can't post, not even being sick, just like anything. A while ago, I was moving and my girlfriend posted a link onto Facebook of a house that we were looking at. And then everyone in town chimed in about how far away it was when it wasn't even that far away, and how much her life was going to suck if we moved there, and blah, blah, blah. And they're all into this guise that they're like looking out for your best interests. But that's not what they're doing. They're just trying to be an expert on something. And then like they had a shitty commute to work for a few years, and now they feel like they can tell everybody that their commute is going to suck and they shouldn't move to a place they want to move because they had a shitty commute and they know what it's like, and you should trust their expert opinion on places to live, Mr. fucking accountant or whatever the fuck you are. You know what I mean? No, excuse me. So yeah, that's one of the reasons I hate Facebook is that everyone's got their shitty opinion on everything. It's one of the reasons I hate mentioning to people that I'm sick, because everyone's got a fucking cure. Just keep that shit to yourself, people. I'm miserable enough. I don't need to know that echinacea has been used by the Chinese or whatever the fuck for thousands of years. It doesn't fucking work. Everyone knows that, and you know that. Quit trying to feed me your placebo. Anyway, speaking of health, we've got no guest today. No guest because I don't want to get anyone sick. So we're going to cancel the guest for this week, and it's just going to be El Solo, El Andrew today. But speaking of health, I've been obsessed with nutrition lately. And if some of you know me, some of you don't know me, but basically I've been on Adderall for many years, ever since I was a kid, off and on. And it's been great. I have never had any complaints about it. You hear a lot of people talk shit about people that take Adderall. And mostly it just comes from a place of pure ignorance, They're just they lump it in with things like antidepressants and things like that, which shape your personality. And, what's going on with society? people are ever taking pills to be more productive so that everyone's going to be uniform and we're all going to have the same personality and wear the same clothes and blah, 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 blah. Fuck you people. It goes back to that thing. You're not a fucking doctor. I've never heard a doctor say that ever. I've never heard anyone with any sort of knowledge in the subject whatsoever. It's insane. Just the amount of dogma out there surrounding this completely, absolutely necessary drug for some people. Like, I wouldn't have graduated high school without it. I'll go ahead and say that. I absolutely know that I wouldn't have. I would have dropped out, or I would have failed out. I wouldn't have been able to hold this job that I've got, or any job that I've had for as long as I'd had without it. You know, things of that nature. It's great stuff. But here we come to the point of the story. Lately, I've been obsessed with nutrition. I've been taking supplements, vitamins, to replace the things that I don't get in my diet. I've been altering my diet to include more fresh vegetables and things like that. You know, all the stuff, all that shit you're supposed to fucking do with your, that we all do, none of us, that nobody I know really does. Stopped eating bacon and eggs for breakfast. Nobody needs to eat like a fucking farmer in the morning because we're not farming anymore, right? You're not spending all those days out in the fucking fields hoeing your crops or whatever the fuck you do when you're a farmer. We're, leading pretty sedentary lives, and we don't need to be eating like that. And I came to that realization, so I started reading up on nutrition and, glycemic index and things like that. Trying to remove the old jelly roll from my stomach, and I've been pretty healthy lately. And one of the things that I noticed when I started getting into this is that my need for Adderall went down. When I took Adderall after I started eating better, I've noticed that it had less of an effect on me. It wasn't doing the same thing that it was anymore. And so this goes on for about a month or so, but I'm still taking the Adderall. And then one day I got into, I was reading about a kind of supplement called a liposome, which it's a type of delivery method. Basically, you take a supplement or a drug and they coat it in this stuff. And instead of absorbing 18 or 19% of the vitamins that you take like you normally do when you take an oral vitamin, you're absorbing like 80 to 90%. And the amounts of it in your bloodstream are much more consistent of getting an IV shot of it rather than, taking an oral dose of it, which I thought was pretty interesting. So there were a couple that people do this with that I wanted to try. Vitamin C for one, and glutathione for the other. If you don't know about glutathione, you can look it up, Glutathioне. It's an antioxidant. Some people call it the quote-unquote master antioxidant. Anyway, so I've got a liposome solution of these stuff, and I take it 3 times a day. And the day I started taking that stuff, the first thing I noticed were that my dreams went nuts. My dreams went absolutely vivid. Now, for those of you that smoke weed, you know that if you smoke weed and then you quit smoking weed, your dreams become super vivid. You can remember them easier. You have them every night. And then, and when you're smoking weed, you don't dream so much. This happened. I never smoked weed, or I didn't stop smoking weed, and I started dreaming like I quit smoking weed. For those of you that don't smoke weed, you probably don't know what that means, but I mean, that was pretty major. I knew it was doing something to me. I knew it was working somehow. Either the vitamin C or the glutathione was doing something to my brain to make it better. But after about 3 days of this, I noticed that I had stopped taking Adderall. Now, this is a big deal because it's not something that I could just stop taking. If I had gone a day without taking Adderall before, I would have definitely noticed. It would have been this huge thing. I would have been like, oh my God, this brain fog won't go away. This actual physical feeling in my head slowing me down, keeping me from thinking as clearly and as quickly as I know I can at other times. I just didn't notice it. That didn't happen when I stopped taking it the first day, and I haven't taken it since. That was about 3 or 4 months ago, and I haven't taken any Adderall since. Not because I wanted to get off it. I didn't go into this whole nutrition thing thinking, I need to get off Adderall. That's doing me too much bad, because it was doing me great. I just started forgetting to take it. It was crazy. I'd never even considered that as a possibility. But now I've quit taking it, and it's, I just don't need it anymore. It doesn't seem like, and it's great. Now, I'm not saying that, like, vitamin C and glutathione is a replacement for Adderall or anything like that. What I'm saying is that for whatever reason, my body chemistry needed something to clear my head out. I don't know why, whether it was like some sort of free radicals. That's what some people say that glutathione does, is attacks the free radicals in your blood and your brain and things like that. And, maybe I had some shit floating around in my brain that was causing me to not be able to pay attention and things like that. But now I can, it's like night and fucking day, between the nutrition that I'm getting and the supplements that I'm taking and this other new, antioxidant kind of stuff that I've been taking. Adderall, the need for Adderall is just gone. And that's absolutely crazy. I never, ever thought in a million years that I would be off of it, or that nutrition would work. And it just made me even more obsessed with it, man. Now I just want to eat the best things possible, always. I watched that documentary, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. And he went on about how he wanted to reset his body, about how he craved, just all that shitty food that he used to eat, and he was just fat. And then his theory was that he wanted to reset his body. He wanted to just drink nothing but juice, which I did. I drank nothing but fresh vegetable and sweetened with fruit juice made with a juicer for lunch and dinner, for breakfast and lunch, and then ate whatever I wanted for dinner. I did that for 3 months, lost like 40 pounds in about 6 months, and it was great. My doctor said I was down to my quote-unquote fighting weight almost. And so based on that, now when I get hungry, I don't crave shit like burgers and fries and fucking pasta and all that shit. Once in a while I do, but now when I'm hungry for salad or stuff with nutrition in it, big piles of stir fry, grilled vegetables with grilled chicken, things like that. I very rarely crave a donut, whereas like before I was waking up wanting one every time. And now that I've been doing this, I found that when I get hungry, it seemed to have worked. It seemed to have worked. Now I realize that I'm kind of getting a little into the thing that I was just bitching about, how like you're not a fucking doctor, and I realize that, but I'm not trying to tell you that you need to do this. I'm just sharing with you my experience. My experience is that through nutrition, I was able to counteract the effects of quote unquote ADD, whatever that really is, right? And it was great. And it works out great for me. I'm not trying to say that you should get off your Adderall if that's what you need, but you should maybe definitely look into your nutrition and see how eating better could do that, because, not only is it just a good thing in general, but it may actually be directly impacting your ability to think clearly. And I think that's pretty fascinating. Yeah, sorry about that. This is what you get when AndrewX is sick with the flu AIDS. Oh, man. Yeah, this podcast almost didn't happen again today, like I mentioned earlier, because, A, I'm sick. It is a day late, and I'm sorry about that. Oh, man, that guy in my head that I told you about a couple weeks ago that keeps telling me that everything's hard and that how I just need to stay on the couch and fucking play Dark Souls 2 instead of come down and do my fucking podcast, which is just basically sitting in front of a microphone and talking about anything I want to, basically, for however long that I feel like I can, and then putting it on the internet. That's fucking nothing, but still that guy in my head is like, oh man, you don't want to go do that. You're going to have to think of stuff to say, and you're going to have to sit there for like an hour. You're going to sit there for an hour. You could just be sitting here playing video games. So if you could read between the lines of that, yeah, I bought a couple new video games this week. I broke down and did it. I did it while I was sick. And I did that because because I've finally come to a realization of where it's appropriate to be able to play video games in my life. And that is when I'm sick. When I can't be anywhere but on the couch and have no option for my own good other than to just sit there and rest. I can allow myself to indulge in some video games. I'm not leaving the fucking house. It's wet and cold and shit outside, but I don't feel so bad playing video games while I'm sick because I can't do anything else. Except this podcast now. That was, which is the whole reason I brought it up. Man, that shit is powerful. I could just sit there and play that shit all day, and I could never have come down here and do this. That was like half the reason of my hesitation for coming down and doing this again. The other half being that fucking guy in the head. And that guy in the head also seems to like the video games. He'll just tell me to keep doing that. And it's fucking bullshit, man. It's nothing I've done in the last week or so improves my life. You know what I mean? And I want everything that I do from this point on in my life to be A, beneficial to me in my future, what I have left of it, and B, telling that guy in my head to fuck right the fuck off. Anything, any suggestion that guy makes can lick my nuts. I've got so much better to do than anything that guy could fucking tell me to do. And I've noticed that when I'm sick, it seems to have a much more pronounced effect. I haven't worked out all week because maybe that's it. I haven't worked out all week, and I've just been kind of lounging around trying to get better. And maybe that's why it's so hard, because I just haven't been on my regular schedule that I've had for the past few months. My regular schedule of eating and working out and stuff like that. And it probably had a lot to do with me having this great hesitation. I had to wait a day. I don't even know. I could have done this yesterday. Well, maybe not. I was pretty sick. But, but I got to come down here and I got to come down here and work on this, because this makes me better. This is training me to speak better. It's training me to slow down and not say, every fucking 5 seconds like I did in the last podcast. By the way, Jeff Nelson, how great was that? I love talking to that guy. We're going to have him back again, and we're going to talk about some other things. We have some very different points of view on different things, and it's the kind of thing that I want to get more of on this podcast is, some dialogue. I think these podcasts are a lot better with me and a guest rather than just me at this point anyway, because I'm not good enough to just sit here in front of a microphone by myself and talk to you and have it be fucking entertaining. You know what I mean? I don't know enough about sports for you sports fans to fucking just sit here and go on and on and on about it, although I kind of wish I did now. But in addition to being sick, one thing I'm also sick of is the zombie craze. Man, I used to be a big horror movie fan, and it's still am in a way, but nobody's made a decent horror movie in years. Everybody's just making fucking zombie movies now. And now the big thing is not, because everybody's getting sick of the fucking zombie thing by now, right? Like, yeah, fucking zombies. It's so tired. And you would think that now the movie industry would be moving towards making different kinds of movies, different kinds of horror movies. But no, instead of making different kinds of movies other than zombie movies, now they're just hiding the zombie movies in the guise of other kinds of movies. I saw this one movie about, and the description of the movie was a man watches his wife die by being attacked by a pack of feral children. And then he goes on living his life. And then, the movie is him going on dealing with the memory of that or whatever. Sounds like a fucking fantastic movie. All these, the visions of all this shit that he's got swirling around in his head. And, is he seeing the shit? Is he not? It was great for about the first 2/3 of the movie. And then the kids turned out to be zombies. Spoiler alert, if you figure out what movie this is. But yeah. Kids basically trying to be zombies. They're infected with something that makes them bloodthirsty. Oh, what an original idea. Jesus Christ, man. Like, not only can you not just make a fucking zombie movie, but it's just kind of like pouring salt into a wound, right? If someone's like sick of a zombie movie and then they finally, oh, wow, what is this? What kind of amazing supernatural force did some pinnacle of imagination come up with to stimulate my brain and have me see a movie that I possibly have? Well, nope, fucking zombies. Never mind. Jesus Christ, man. Seriously? Like, zombies could never happen. Zombies will never happen. This increasingly more and more realistic sort of kind of thing that they're getting with zombie movies. Like, it's not just, you can't just have a silly zombie movie now it's like more and more and more like realistic. And what would people actually do if zombies came? Like the fucking Walking Dead. oh, look at these people's lives. This is how people would actually react and, shit like that. I don't give a shit what people would actually do if zombies came, because zombies aren't coming. Period. Fuck you. There are no zombies. There never will be. Never has been. Although, have you read that shit about the ants that get some sort of quote-unquote zombification through a fungus that they have growing in their heads? They'll start acting like really strange, and then all of a sudden, like, the rest of the ants will, like, just shun them and, like, take them away from the colony, because I guess it's some sort of, like, infection, like some sort of spreadable infection that they know about. And then they just start acting really weird, and they'll climb to, like, the highest point they can on a plant and bite into the plant, stay there for the rest of their, life for the next day or so, and die. And then a little mushroom grows out of their head while their jaws are, like, jaw locked onto the plant. Isn't that fucking crazy? So, I mean, there's definitely things in nature that could make it happen, but I don't know. Neil deGrasse Tyson did a really good thing about how zombies could never exist. I forget what TV show it was on, but I saw it recently. It was pretty fucking funny. And if you guys haven't seen the new Cosmos, man, you guys should watch it. I thought it's a little weird, actually, because I was a big fan of the original Cosmos, Carl Sagan. Carl Sagan's somewhat of a hero of mine. And, it's just a great series. I could watch it over and over and over again, And the new one is great, and Neil deGrasse Tyson is great, and, all the new findings that they've had, and, just add more to it. But there's also this kind of air of, like, so far, like, every episode has had at least one part in it that's trying to convince those fucking quote-unquote Christians that believe that the earth is... Man, I said quote-unquote like 5 times in this podcast already. I never say that. I don't know why. But anyway, the new Cosmos has so much of it dedicated to try and convince the 7,000 years, you know what I mean? Convince people that believe the earth is 7,000 years old because that's when God created it, and that's when the Bible says, or whatever, blah, blah, those fucktards. Yeah, those, there's so much of it dedicated to trying to convince those people that what they believe is wrong. And I think it's just kind of like pointless. Because you're not going to convince those people that they're wrong. I mean, because it's already a plainly silly argument. Someone that's arguing, how they say you can't argue crazy, but it's true. I mean, these people are batshit. They're so ingrained in the religion that they were brought up in that they just can't get out of it. I mean, not that they can't, but it seems a little silly to me to take a show that's supposed to be about what the cosmos is about, what the nature of the universe is, and then even acknowledge that, the idea that the earth is 7,000 years old even exists. It just seems kind of silly to me. But other than that, it's fucking phenomenal. You guys should check it out. So I've set up an email address for you to send letters and ask questions, or, even better, because I don't want to, what kind of advice am I going to give, right? I'm just some fucking idiot. But what you should do is give me advice instead. Maybe you can fuck it. You can answer a question. You can give an answer. I don't give a shit. You can respond to another one that I've read on the air. But here's what's going to happen. I'm setting up an email address, verbalsex@bloodbidet.net. I'll say it again, verbalsex@bloodbidet, BLOODBIDET.net. You can go ahead and write that email address. Ask me anything. Tell me anything. I'll fucking read it on the air. And if it's a piece of shit piece of advice, I will fucking bring it on the air and I'll tell you that it's a piece of shit advice. Fuck you. And if it's a great piece of advice, I'll tell you that it's fucking awesome and I'll treat you like a king. Do you have some, like, just absolutely fucked up situation in your life that you want to have the opinion of some idiot about? Go ahead and ask me. I'll give you my 2 cents. But I thought that would be pretty fun for you guys. We can just go apeshit on these letters if we get enough of them, right? Again, that's verbal sex, all one word, at BLOODBIDET.net. That's bloodbidet.net. verbalsex@bloodbidet.net. I'll go ahead and put that up on the page too, so you guys can just copy and paste if you want. Oh man, I'm probably gonna have to cut this short again, guys. All this talking is making me coughing and starting to hurt my throat a little bit. I can only pause out so many of these coughs because they just come out of nowhere. All right, guys, you know what? I'm just gonna have to go ahead and call it. I thought I was gonna be doing better at this, but I'm still not thinking clearly, and I still can't talk. I still can't talk right. But I wanted to do what I said what I was going to do, one a week. And that's what I'm doing. So this is this is a symbol of my dedication, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like ass. This totally fucking sucks for me, but I'm doing it anyway, and I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it for you, ladies and gentlemen. Nah. That's a lie, and you know it. All right. Until next week, guys. Thanks.